extremely exciting project, especially for me, because we are here in Tennessee at Boxeer, where Greg builds these beautiful kits to put a Volkswagen TDI 2-liter turbo diesel into a Vanagon. So we're gonna get one of these in my 1991 Syncro Vanagon, and Greg will tell us all about that and what he does here, but basically it's just the most beautiful engine setup for a van there is. It's double the horsepower, double the fuel mileage, just amazing. So anyway, this is Greg, and he's gonna help us install it and tell us all about how it works.
So we have a 2016 Common Rail TDI engine. It's a production engine that you find in the Gulf or in Europe, actually also in bigger vans, like the Sprinter version in Europe has this 2-liter TDI engine. So it can handle heavier rigs. So we take this engine and we customize the exhaust, the engine mount system, all kind of small custom parts that we use, like the adapter plates, coolant, NACs, to allow to mount this thing in the Vanagon. It's all custom made in-house, CAD designed on my laptop. I spent a lot of time designing all these parts, and this has been a progress of many years doing conversion. So this is like my 11th year doing Vanagon conversion engines. So all those little details and learning adds up, and we end up today with a full stainless steel kit. We learned that all the powder coated kits on the market have been they look good for a year or two, but then they start rusting. And this has been the most reliable long term.
And he sells this engine just as a standalone kit, just the engine and the ECU and all of that, so you can just buy it and put it in whatever you want to put it in.
We have these in jet skis, airplanes, military.
Jet ski?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The airplane sounds fun.
Yachts carry only diesel, the big yachts, and they want a conveniency of only carrying one fuel on board.
Right.
So like we need a lightweight engine that makes 200 horsepower.
Yeah.
And they were like, this is it. And so it's a 3-4-seater, nice jet ski that reps. You know the 5.9 Cummins?
Yeah, everybody.
This is the same stuff, but miniature.
Yeah.
It's a cast iron block. You can take 50 PSI boost if you want. It was not
what's the stock boost on it, roughly?
25 or 25.
That's already pretty high.
Yeah.
The benefit is that from the turbo to the intake, you have a very short distance.
So no turbo lag, or very minimal.
No lag at all. So you have 4 bit rolls. The chance of this to be leaking is very minimal. Where other TDIs that has an intercooler far up front, relocated, has like miles and miles of piping. Then they have like boost leaks, turbo spikes, and then they fail the turbo. So this is like super reliable.
Yeah, let's bring the van in and then throw this in it. Just pick it up, throw it in.
We're going to be pulling that stock throttle pedal out because we need to convert it to drive-by-wire. So it's pretty simple, just a couple of pop rivets need to be drilled out, and taking the throttle cable itself out. That'll all get replaced.
Awesome. I'm excited for drive-by-wire. That'll be so much better. That pedal's so terrible.
No, and they get clogged up with dirt and get all notchy and stuff, so
awesome.
It'll be good. I'm gonna get it set up where I like it and leave plenty of room for the carpet so that it's not too close to the little wall right there. And then just punch some holes into the floor and it'll bolt down and be nice and sturdy.
So we're going to remove the filler neck to convert it from a gasoline restriction and open it so the diesel nozzle can fit inside.
So this is the little flap and restrictor for a gasoline filler, and it would have been all the way up in there. We drilled out 2 spot welds and tap it out the back so that a diesel filler will fit in there just perfect. And now we reinstall.
So one of the first steps is obviously draining all the fluids, and then we had some heat shields and such that we're gonna take off the bottom. And then basically it's very minimal parts that actually have to come out. It looks like it just drops out basically as one piece. So we'll go up top, we'll take off the air box and a few things, and then we'll support this and drop the engine mounts down here. And it's gonna be a pretty smooth process for sure.
Sam, how you like working with a lift and a creeper and all of the stuff?
Oh, it's amazing.
How about the smooth concrete floor?
Yeah, look how easy I can roll. So
Yeah.
we can't, this is not a grind hard luxury. It's not that we don't have a creeper, it's that it doesn't roll.
So we are labeling the coolant bottle level sensor. This is really one of the few wires that can get lost in the engine bay.
So that's one of the few things that, one of the few sensors or wires that's even used from the stock harness, right?
Exactly, yeah, we strip everything, keep it, we start from a blank canvas, except this 2 wires for this sensor and the ignition wire, so the black fused, that's in that box, and the coolant temperature sensor. We pull the tag straight out of the CAN bus signal, so we have an OBD2 connector that we screw on the dash area, and out of the CAN high and CAN low, we connect it to the tach in the front.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's been barely over an hour. We're already ready to drop the engine and trans. The filler neck is already modified. The gas pedal's out. So yeah, time to drop out the engine and trans and get ready to put the new one in. Yeah. So this is not what you want, is the oil draining out of your CV when you pull it off the trans. That means there's a seal in there that's bad and leaking trans fluid into the CV.
I think the seal is probably in.
Yeah, yeah. We can put some silicone and push it back. It just popped.
Oh, it just fell out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's down in that bucket, I think.
Sam's been fishing around in the oil buckets and found the seal that fell out.
Got it. That's a lot of different fluids is what makes up this concoction. It's conditioner for the hands. I didn't bring lotion down here, so we're good.
So, about time for an exhaust upgrade, I think. We've got all this convoluted, rusty, terrible piping, this giant muffler, all of that, and now we're just gonna go to this beautiful little muffler. Huge upgrade. The old 2-liter water Boxeer is gone forever. About 2 hours, engine and trans out.
I were to take a lunch break and I caught Ethan being Ethan, you know? Doing some pull-ups in the old engine bay.
Yup.
How stoked are you though now?
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
We just cruised along, so once we get back, basically we're just gonna clean up this bay here, and throw the diesel in.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So we got it out, obviously. We got 4 bolts on the transmission, pretty simple, and then we'll be able to separate these. And then we just have to put this axle shaft seal back in. We'll do some wizardry to the transmission to make it marry to this beast of a motor. All while that's happening, they're cleaning the engine bay right now, so it should go pretty quick and we'll be able to get it right back in.
And I'm behind the camera most of the time on this because Edwin's not here. So since I'm a little more comfortable using the camera, Sam's doing a lot of the extra work and some explaining of stuff, and I'm running around doing camera work, and yeah, it's a good time. Boom.
One becomes 2.
Boom.
Start it up.
And so with the stage 2 clutch, we have to reinforce this fork. So the factory comes with just one little tack here and there, and we've seen some fork fail in the middle of nowhere. So what we do is we add a full weld inside and here inside too. Another tack in the back, and that makes it very, very, very good for many, many miles.
This seal here is what popped out and was leaking oil into the CV. So we've got it all cleaned up and RTV'd, but it's essentially airtight behind it, so it won't stay in and keeps pushing back out until I said that, and now it's just staying in there.
Nice.
Well, we rigged up this little clamp to hold it in place while we do everything else with a socket. I don't know if we need that now, but I'll put some extra RTV around it, and then that will be sealed up and it won't leak oil into the CV. This is the diff lock, which is pretty cool that a camper van came with a differential lock from the factory. But it hasn't worked in a while, and that's most likely because this shaft here that it moves is kind of crusty and somewhat seized. So we're gonna take it off of there and clean it all up and get it working again.
So we can see the pin a little better now, and it is crusty.
Yeah, it doesn't want to move.
Broke out
At
the
all.
punch and hammer to try to free it loose. Got some penetrating oil on it.
It ended up being a little bit more involved than we thought to get this freed up because it was very rusted and crusty. So this is the shaft of the actuator that goes down inside there and is held in place with a pin. The bottom of it was so rusted in there it just broke off when we went to pull it out. So we have a solution for that. We got the little piece drilled out, and then we had to take everything off around it so that we could get at it. We got it all polished up, and now we got it moving nice and easy. So we got no lock, lock,
Yes.
what you want.
So it in fact works despite it not moving for who knows how long.
4 years or so. When I first got the van, I tested it to see if it worked. It worked, and then the next time I tried to use it, it didn't. Because this van spent most of its existence in New Mexico, where there's like never moisture or salt on the roads or anything, so it wasn't rusted before I got it.
Okay.
And then I got it and it got all rusty. So it's better now. Before the trip, I built this new skid plate for the van because I got rid of the old spare tire that used to go here because it wouldn't fit anymore. And then also, and we'll show this once it's off, but I added a second radiator up here, which is for the air-to-water intercooler on the TDI. So basically it's just a giant plate of 11 gauge steel for the skid plate with the edges bent up for rigidity, and then on the front, cut in an arc and then piece welded back on for the bolts that hold it on the front. Uses the 3 bolts in the rear that are on the middle of the cross member already there. And then this is just a generic radiator that I bought off of eBay. There's the intercooler on the engine, on the intake, and then the water flows through that, cools down the intake air, then gets pumped up to the front, runs through the radiator, gets nice and cool, goes back, and keeps the engine, the intake air temperatures nice and low for maximum efficiency and power. It's also got all this ducting around it here, so that all of the air that comes through the louvers on the bottom of the skid plate has to go through the radiator, so it can't just like disperse around it and not do any cooling. So I can monitor the air intake temps at different vehicle speeds and see how well it works. And if we need any extra, I can just put a couple of fans on here that'll just suck all the air right through it. So it's a pretty sweet setup.
This is the multi-mount for the kit. It holds the fuel filter, the coolant bottle, the fuel pump, and the intercooler pump all together in one piece.
That's nice.
And it sits up right about there.
So the moment has finally come to mate the engine to the transmission, right?
Yeah. We're a bit later in the day, but it's perfect. We're gonna just put those 4 studs in those 4 holes, nuts, and done.
That's awesome.
It'll be amazing.
So simple. The moment of mating.
You gotta come up.
Oh, we're good, we're good.
Yep.
Babe!
While we're doing all this, we're gonna upgrade the starter because the stock starter probably would not last very long starting a diesel engine. So this is just a starter for a Volkswagen TDI from like 98 Jetta or whatever, something like that. And then this is an adapter plate, nice CNC aluminum adapter plate for the different starter. Before we install the engine, we're gonna test and make sure the starter works and everything like that, so.
The battery is dead, so.
So we're not gonna do anything. How often do you have to use your Jeep to help things around the shop?
Oh dude, it's just towed vans around all the time. Greg gets his LT stuck and I gotta pull him out. So.
Nice.
But it's all fun.
Yeah. Right now we're just using it to, as a jumper to test the starter and everything. Again, we're trying to test this starter just to make sure that, because it was kind of not the best one you could get from AutoZone or O'Reilly or whatever, and we just wanted to make sure it all works before we stick it up in the van where we can't access it. So we're trying to use the jumpers from Jesse's Jeep, but we're just losing too much amperage in those jumper cables and everything. So we got out the Hulkman and hooked it up directly to the starter. And then the reason these jumper cables are here is just to tell the Hulkman that this is a battery, because it won't just send power to anything. Now we're gonna bridge to the solenoid, and that's a lot of vroom vrooms.
Yes. That's enough vroom vrooms.
Yeah.
Pulling a vacuum over here.
Yeah. I heard the turbo spooling there for a second.
So that's
crazy.
the last
It's
check,
fueling a
right?
little
We
bit.
gotta put this thing in now.
Yeah. So before we throw the engine back in here, while we have space, we'll kind of talk about some of the elements and where they go. So this multi-bracket here holds the coolant reservoir, the fuel filter, and then there's a couple other things that go on here. The pump that feeds to the intercooler, and then something or other else, I forget. But then the ECU is going to mount somewhere over here. The wiring harness, and all of this stuff just tucks in neatly up above here. This is the boost control solenoid for the turbo, and then there's some wiring tie-ins inside the box here for the different wiring that we changed, but use this original junction box sort of thing. Over here we have for the power steering. This is the original reservoir from the Vanagon, and then it's just got this little stainless bracket that is part of the kit that bolts to the old bracket and just tucks it out of the way so that the engine can fit where it needs to fit.
So before it's fully in place, like halfway up, it's great to attach the starter. It's kind of hard access when it's in there, so slave cylinder for the clutch. Also the prop shaft and CV, you kind of position the engine. Yeah, that's about it.
Moment of truth. Engine's going up into its final resting place. Exciting times. I've never had such a clean engine in anything in my entire life.
Keep pumping?
Yeah.
You tell me when it's touching over there.
Start it up. This is lit.
So it's really coming along now. Because
Yeah.
This is an engine mount going.
It is. It's a beautiful engine mount that uses the stock mount locations, but it's all TIG welded stainless steel, laser cut. All the hardware is stainless, every bolt, every nut, every washer, like very high quality, a hydraulic mount, super sturdy. It all just slides down in there, bolts together, and then the engine's mounted.
Nice. Yeah, Greg's all about no rust.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, no rust. Powder coating is garbage. We go stainless. I keep saying this, but like, one of the most exciting moments. The moment we don't need that anymore.
It is in and on its mount, and now
Yeah.
we just finished the hookup.
Yeah, we just gotta hook everything up. The axles or the CV axles are bolted to it. They're torqued. The engine mounts are bolted on. We just gotta hook up all the wires and hoses and throw the exhaust on there, and we'll be making choo-choos.
And this is the only time you'll hear Ethan say they're in and torqued.
You're right.
So-
I never use torque wrenches.
But here we do.
Yeah, Greg's got a digital torque wrench, so, we torqued some things. Greg's not here right now, so I didn't do torque specs on the engine mount bolts, though. Don't tell him. This is one of my favorite parts of the whole kit, is that this is the complete and total exhaust system after the turbo. And before the turbo, it's just a manifold. So this is the whole exhaust pipe, muffler, everything, and it sounds amazing. So, time to put that in.
And it looks amazing.
It looks amazing, yeah, absolutely. Every part of this kit looks awesome. lunchtime, and because we're in the south-ish, we're having fried chicken. Or wait, did you guys say it's called hot chicken?
Wait, Nashville hot chicken.
Nashville hot chicken. That's
Yeah.
that's the place.
Yeah, but this is Hattie B's. Hot chicken is a Nashville thing.
Oh, okay.
Dry rub hot chicken.
Gotcha.
This isn't super hot, but it'll be
Ethan's
something.
we go.
getting learned on.
I'm getting learned. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, as importantly, a gallon of iced tea. That looks like more than a gallon. That's a lot of iced tea. So, or sweet tea, sorry. Sweet tea, my bad. Anyway, food, yes.
Food.
Oh, and banana pudding. That's a thing too? Is that a Nashville thing?
No, it's just a soul food thing.
We got the pedal all mounted and wired. We got the OBD2 port mounted up here. And then this wire will become the tack signal to get the tack working.
And then how does the signal get to the OBD2 port?
There's a wire that
Runs all
runs
the way back.
from the ECU all the way forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. And now we've got drive-by-wire throttle. We're extremely close. Just hooking up the heater core lines. I think that's pretty much the last thing, isn't it? I think we're basically ready to lower it and put some diesel in,
put
yeah?
some diesel in there.
Yeah,
shake that
clear out the
yeah.
gas remaining in the system.
Or climb up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna make this whole van tip.
I know.
You're gonna kill me.
200 more pounds on that lift. Never done that before. Ugh.
Safety warnings.
Safety first.
On that slippery fiberglass bumper.
And then I should go film the do not tip or sway.
Okay, I came up here for light.
Light.
Forgot what I came up for. We've got everything else mounted over on this side. Right here is the water pump for the intercooler. And here's the low pressure fuel pump. So those mount to that same multi-bracket that holds all the accessories on this side of the engine. So those are all mounted up. You can also admire this beautiful CNC bracket that holds on the power steering and AC. So that's, you know, that's sexy. And the beautiful motor mounts all bolted up. So we still have to bleed the clutch system. And then that we should be pretty much ready to lower it down and run some diesel through it and fire it up. So last night we got very close to being ready to start it, but it was getting late and it was Greg's birthday, so we didn't want to make him work late on his birthday. So we're back at it this morning and it's time to put the very first diesel into the van. Very important part of the process here. Put the stickers on the ECU, right?
Yes.
I wanted to know what the weight difference is between the old engine, all of its components, and the new one. I meant to bring our crane scale, but it turns out Greg has exactly the same one. We're gonna pick this up, see how much it weighs, and then we'll pick up one of the brand new engines with a similar amount of components and see what the difference is. Greg says he's never done this, so this is an unknown factor for all of us. 360 pounds. And that's, let me just check and make sure it's not.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
It makes sense because, I mean, there's a 20 feet of exhaust.
Yeah, all the exhaust pipe, the mustache bar, everything. We've got one of the brand new engines hanging here. It doesn't have every single component on it, but neither did the other one. It's got most of it. All the heavy stuff like the engine mounts are sitting on top here. And the weight is around 408 pounds. So that's an increase of what, 48 pounds or so? Obviously that's roughly, but you know, that's not bad. 48 pounds for double the power. I'll take it. Right now we poured like 5 gallons of diesel into the tank, and now we're gonna run it through the system to wash out all the gasoline that may be left in there.
This can go in my tractor.
Yeah,
The tractor will,
It doesn't care.
yeah, it will drink it all.
yeah. We got it all flushed out. We're just gonna run a few seconds of the extra clean diesel off into this can, and then we'll be ready to start. Filling it up with oil, and then we're gonna turn that key and listen to the sound of a fresh TDI running for the first time.
The break-in period's the 2,000 miles home, right?
Yeah, that's a proper break-in procedure, drive 2,000 miles. I don't know. What's the break-in procedure, Greg? Send it. Yeah.
Burn out straight out of the garage.
There she goes!
Not bad at all.
Oh yeah. Sounds good. Yeah, it came for 2 seconds. The battery's good, starter's good. Yeah.
Very pumped.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah, no smoke, nothing.
It smells right, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Alright, we're gonna check the oil
Yep.
again.
And then we'll need to bleed the coolant a lot more still, I suppose. I think it's time to take it off the lift and drive it out of the shop. Get it warmed up and then, you know, bleed all the coolant and all of that stuff, but yeah. We're gonna just go do some mild test driving around, get the engine up to operating temperature, and then, you know, re-bleed the coolant and all of that. But it's first test drive time. The most exciting time. Like this time, it's actually the most exciting time is driving it for the first time. I've said that before, but it's real this time. We've also got this little Bluetooth thing that plugs into the OBD2 and an app on the phone, and now we can add. Right now, I just have coolant temp and RPMs. But we can add there's everything on this list. This thing, because it's all-wheel drive, normally on hard surfaces turning around tight, it's got such a tight turning radius that it binds really hard, and with the old engine you had to give it a ton of gas just to turn at no speed because it just bound up really bad.
Wow, that just throws you back. Part of it's the inertia from the vehicle, but that's some power for sure.
Yeah. You ready?
It's like a struggle to even keep the camera somewhat stable.
I'm gonna take it easy for the dogs here for a minute. They're not happy about the throttles.
Are you afraid, Frederick? They just came right up front.
This is granny gear going up a steep hill, and we'll pull a Greg here. Idle up the hill, feet out the window.
Feet out the window.
This is just how we do it when we're in TDI
and Greg's
torque
got
land.
his feet out the window.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're out exploring Greg's property and we stumble upon a carnival booth full of toys.
We're gonna run to the store and get some more diesel in here, but now we get to really feel the power because we can open it up and see how it does. A little bit different than it used to be.
So here's some of the monitor data. Right now we have the RPMs and then coolant temp.
Yeah, and intake temp.
And intake temp.
First time using the green filler tube. I've never owned a diesel vehicle before. It's exciting.
I haven't either.
The clutch is a little stiffer, but it engages faster. But once I get the hang of that, it's gonna be nice. It'll take you 2 seconds. You just gotta get used to it because it's so different than the old one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like that was probably pretty low RPMs, and that's in fourth, and it just
If you So one of the last things we have to do before we can drive this beast home is the engine cover. So with the engine in here this way, it sticks up a little higher than the bottom of the engine cover. So we cut out a chunk and then put a little box over it so that it can stick up a little higher. I got the little spacers in for the engine mounts. So the engine is now 3/4 of an inch higher at the back. So we've got the deck lid here with the hole cut out, so that all the engine can, you know, sit where it needs to sit and the lid can go in there. And now we've got this plate which comes with the engine swap kit, and then we're just gonna make it spaced up just a little bit higher than normal with just some aluminum flat bar just all the way around. We spaced up, and then the engine will be enclosed so we don't have to breathe exhaust fumes for the 36-hour drive home. So last night, got the engine cover all finished up and glued onto the deck lid here. It works quite nice, covers everything up, and it makes it a lot quieter inside the van. My plan here is to make a foam pad that goes all the way around here and just raises it all up, and then put this mattress on top of that, and then just have another little piece of mattress that folds out on top of the other half of the bed, so it's all the same level. Plus, then you get an extra cushy bed. And the ground clearance is actually now really good. Like, it's almost as good as it was with the stock engine. The only real difference is the back of this sticks back a little farther, so the departure angle's not quite as good. But Greg's also working on a new oil pan for this, a CNC billet oil pan that has a slope at the back to compensate for that. Because if you look at it from the side, the departure angle is really close to perfect. It's just, or I mean, as perfect as it can be from the tires. It's just the back little bit of this oil pan that's in the way. So, but, you know, all of that is like really minimal, you know, compromise for having such a great engine in the van. Like, super worth it, because all you have to do is raise the deck lid a little bit, not that big of a deal, and then with a new oil pan, the ground clearance will be just as good. And then, you know, you get twice the fuel mileage, twice the horsepower, twice the torque, and twice the choo-choo noises from the beautiful turbo.
For only a compromise of deck height, which
Yeah,
is like
that's it. Like,
worth it.
Oh, super worth it. And an engine that'll last for pretty much forever, you know, and have way fewer problems than the sad old water boxer. This is a working prototype of the oil pan modification that I was talking about. It's a beautiful hunk of billet aluminum. This was for a previous version of the swap, but you can see like the bevel here is for that better departure angle. So Greg's working on a new version of this for this setup, and then you'll have all of the ground clearance, all of the power, and all you got to do is get a cushier bed for it. So, you know, pretty much a win-win there.
Yeah, and that thing looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and it's way sturdier than the stock oil pan. Like, that's a thick hunk of aluminum. So yeah, that's what you want.
You're back.
I'm back. Been back for almost a week now, and yeah, the trip back with the new engine was so much better than the way out. Highway speeds weren't any higher, like top speed, because of gearing. So when I get the transmission re-geared, that'll be totally different. But just the, you know, lower RPM of a diesel engine, obviously, you can't cruise at 80 just because of RPM, not because of power. It has the power to go 75 up any pass you want, which is amazing. And it's just more drivable, like all around, you know. Like before the engine swap, I never just drove it to town to get groceries or anything, because it was just annoying to drive. Like every time you take off from a stoplight, it's just slow and sad, and like if you need to cross a road in a hurry, you can't. But now you can. So I've been driving it everywhere, and also now it gets better mileage than any other vehicle I own. Which isn't to say it's amazing, but it gets mid-20s. So most of the trip back we got around 20 miles to the gallon, and again, that's just because we were running at such high RPMs. That should come down, or the fuel mileage should come up quite a bit with higher gearing for third and fourth gears. But around town here, I've put almost a whole tank on it, and it should be like easily 25 miles to the gallon, which is 10 miles to the gallon better than it used to do. So huge improvement there, and it's just, yeah, so good, so smooth on the road, perfect for off-road with the torque. And yeah, so, you know, we'll keep doing major upgrades to it in the future as I have time and money. Enormous thanks to Greg for making this happen in such a short period of time. We were only there for 4 days, and we also filmed videos of his shop and his race car and all of that. So biggest thanks to Greg and Boxeer, his company. Also huge thanks to Koenig for the wheels for this, making the trip a lot prettier. Falcon Tire, which also owns Otsu, which these are Otsu tires, got some new rubber for the trip so that, you know, cruising on the highway was nicer, and just, you know, all around making it pretty. We'll have a link in the description to the build thread on our site with all the parts that I've used in this van so far. And obviously some of it's custom stuff, but all the parts that are parts you can buy, we'll have links for them, including the engine swap kit that Greg makes. So go check that out if you got a van, or if you don't have a van and just want to look at some cool stuff. Also, shout out to Burley Motorsports for making such a sweet spare tire carrier for the vans, and for getting it to me last minute before the trip so that, you know, I could actually have a spare on the trip. So yeah, if you need a spare tire carrier, check out Burley Motorsports. Sweet.